The penguin who walked alone. There's a moment that catches your eye before your brain even has time to judge it. A single penguin, walking, not toward the group, not following the line, just going somewhere else. No rush, no panic, no hesitation. And almost instantly, people decided what it meant. They called him lost. They called him depressed. They called him nihilistic. But here's the uncomfortable truth. We are projecting. Because in the wild, walking alone doesn't mean what we think it means. And psychologically, our reaction to that penguin says far more about us than about him. Let's slow this down. Why seeing one penguin breaks our brain? Humans are wired for pattern recognition. Our brains evolved to spot deviations because, historically, deviation meant danger. One animal separates from the group, our brain immediately asks, "What's wrong?" This is called social norm bias. We assume that safety lives in numbers, and anything outside the group must be a mistake. But that assumption is human, not biological, not universal, and definitely not always true in nature. In fact, in many species, separation is strategic. In the wild, the group is not always safer. Penguins are social animals. Yes, but they're also adaptive ones. Researchers studying penguin colonies have documented something surprising. Individual penguins frequently break from a group on purpose. Why? To avoid predators that target dense clusters, to reduce competition for food, to follow a different migration route, to conserve energy, to respond to environmental cues the group hasn't reacted to yet. In nature, uniformity can be fatal. If every animal does the same thing at the same time, one threat can wipe out all of them. Variation is survival. So when that penguin walks alone, he's not giving up. He may be responding to information we can't see. And here's where psychology comes in. Why we label him nihilistic. The internet didn't just see a penguin walking alone. It saw a mirror. Humans live in an intensely social world with rigid expectations. Follow the path. Stay in line. Don't fall behind. Don't fall out. So when we see an animal step away calmly, without fear, without urgency, it triggers something deep. Because for humans, walking alone is often associated with social rejection, failure, depression, falling behind in life. That association is learned, not natural. Psychologists call this symbolic projection. We assign meaning to neutral behavior based on our own emotional experiences. That penguin didn't look sad. He looked certain. And certainty without explanation makes people uncomfortable. Solitude versus isolation. The difference we forget. Here's a crucial psychological distinction. Isolation is being cut off against your will. Solitude is choosing distance. Our brains react very differently to each. Studies show that voluntary solitude increases problem-solving ability, enhances emotional regulation, improves self-trust. In contrast, forced isolation does the opposite. That penguin wasn't dragged away. He wasn't chased off. He wasn't limping behind. He chose his direction. And in nature, choice matters. Why going alone can actually be intelligence. In behavioral ecology, there's a concept called adaptive divergence. It means that individuals who slightly deviate from the group can discover new resources, avoid shared threats, create alternative survival paths. Evolution doesn't reward obedience. It rewards outcomes. Some of the most successful survival strategies come from individuals who didn't wait for consensus. So when we laugh at the penguin, call him nihilistic, or joke about existential dread, we're missing the point. He isn't rejecting meaning. He's responding to reality. The human discomfort with no explanation. Notice something else. People didn't just say, "Oh, interesting." They needed a story. He's depressed. He's given up. He's tired of life. Because ambiguity is psychologically stressful. Our brains crave narrative closure. But the wild doesn't owe us explanations. Nature doesn't operate on symbolism. It operates on function. And sometimes function looks quiet, unremarkable, unbothered. What this penguin teaches us, without trying to, here's the part we avoid admitting. We mock the penguin because we're afraid to be the one who walks differently. We're taught that deviation needs justification. We associate solitude with failure. But the wild doesn't moralize behavior. There is no right path. There's only effective response. Sometimes that response is staying with the group. Sometimes it's leaving it. And both can be intelligent. The real lesson isn't about penguins. It's about us. We live in a culture that treats divergence as a problem, that pathologizes quiet choices, that demands visible purpose at all times. So when we see an animal move without explanation, without urgency, without apology, it feels unsettling because it reminds us not everything needs to be justified. Not every path needs witnesses. Not every step needs approval. In the wild, walking alone isn't tragic. It's neutral, sometimes smart, sometimes necessary, and sometimes it's just part of survival. That penguin didn't walk alone because life was meaningless. He walked alone because nature doesn't follow trends, and neither does survival.